20 years ago, and halfway across the world from the first bringing the noise in San Francisco, my mother goes into her 36th hour of labor. My parents don't agree exactly which hour I was born, but the details are not important. For a trans-Pacific childbirth, an hour or two is just another time zone lost to sleep. And what is the wildest noise that can be brought into the world, if not a child? After the first trimester, the doctors prescribed my mother's 6 months of bed rest to reduce the chances of miscarriage. The not-quite girl in her womb is a dangerous pregnancy, and so my mother becomes the stillest body of water on the entire island of Taiwan. A daughter is always a risk if she is born into a family hungry for sons. We speak of legacy as though it is something that is untouchable. Martin Luther dedicates his life to the liberation of Black Americans, but cannot be held accountable for the hurt he caused Coretta. We take a day off for Dr. King, but do not speak of Dr. Angela Davis, Dr. Grace Lee Boggs. We do not take time for Ida B. Wells, Fannie Lou Hamer, Sojourner Truth, Audre Lorde, Marsha P. Johnson, Sylvia Rivera, Yuri Kochiyama. I am an alien who lives under the legacy of men sustained by violence against women of color. I was born because of a man who dirtied his hands in my mother's blood. I learned about my gender from walking out of a woman and into a world not tuned towards the pitch of my voice, a world where I am only ever someone else's daughter. We continue to sleep on women who lose sleep because of the violences created by men. What is the difference between giving birth or making a sound? Between delivery or deliverance, if something is always being lost? And sometimes, legacy is just another life story choking on its own blood. I do not believe in legacy alone, but I believe in documenting memory for radical remembrance. I would not be here on this stage tonight if it wasn't for the work of Dr. King and all Black revolutionaries who fight against the kind of white supremacy that renders my family illegible to the government. For the Immigration Act of 1965, passed only after the Civil Rights Act of 1964, all social movements are born from the work of Black organizers. And still, the work of legacy cannot exist without accountability. I was born 7 decades to the day after Dr. King, but I choose not to celebrate a birthday after legacy alone. I choose instead to light a candle for every year among men in a country that I have survived, a stick of incense for every ancestor whose name I have lost, each breath of smoke a memory that drowns out the silence. And sometimes the poem becomes a child, born in mouthfuls and coaxed out of the body into softness. The noise I am born into comes not from violence, but from love. I inherit the names of all the femmes of color who came before me, all the women who I might have become. I did not have to lose anything to be here.